Now, as you know, there have been many of them in this Kali Yuga, and so many of them have now disappeared from this earth, and now they cannot trouble us. But there are still some more who are exposed. People have exposed them so much that nobody can expose anybody without any proof. But they have such courage and they are so full of confidence that they can do what they like, and anybody tries to expose them, they will definitely ruin that person. Few things they are doing. First of all, they put wrong ideas into your head. They say that we are very great people, we are this, we are that, God has sent us, all sorts of things they will talk. But there is no proof about it. And human beings never ask for the proof as to how do you say, what is the proof? So the solution is the Sahaja Yoga. In Sahaja Yoga, you have the experience, you have the proof. Then you grow into it. Immediately, you cannot be a great Sahaja Yogi, that's a fact. You have to mature. It takes some time for some people, it takes some more time for some people, it doesn't matter. But you do mature. In the meanwhile, if you try to go to these wrong people, then there is no possibility. There is no way of again bringing you up. Especially those people who rise high in Sahaja Yoga, I think. If they fall so low, then even an ordinary Sahaja Yogi could say, Mother, look at him, where has he gone? So, with all these things happening, what is our job is to worship Mahakali within us. Because what does she do? Perhaps we are not very aware of. First and foremost thing she does is to protect us. Wherever you may be, whatever you may be doing, in whatever peril you may be, howsoever dangerously you may be placed in life, she protects. First thing, she protects. All the people who write to me how they were protected, how they were cured, how they were helped, is this thing, that they should know that all this has happened because of Mahakali power within you. She exists within you. When you are worshipping Mahakali, you are worshipping the Mahakali within you. With due respect, you must know that this Mahakali is a very sensitive personality. She is very sensitive. If you try to do any wrong to anyone, she'll guide you. She'll tell you by many ways that this is wrong you are doing, why you are doing wrong to some person. But if you do not repent and come back onto the normal position, she gives you up. Once Mahakali gives you up, you are now exposed and become prone to all kinds of evil things. I would say, what's the matter with the baby? So when you worship her, what you want? You want her to protect you. In your discrimination, in your mistake, you might do something wrong. May do something that is not good for you, could be very dangerous for you. But she is the person who guides you how to avoid all the dangers. Now she protects your life. She protects your body. She protects all organs of your body. She is the one who gives you all the security of life. In her realm, you feel completely secure. You are never afraid of anything. Because you have left her realm, you have come out of it. That's why, that is the reason you are afraid. But if you are under her beautiful guidance and her blessings, you will never feel afraid to do anything. You will never do anything wrong also. As soon as you will try to do wrong, she will hold your hand. She is really the guiding person. She is the one who actually gives us our existence. Without her, we cannot exist. Because she is the one who is the power of Sri Shiva. She gives us so many things. For example, she gives us the relaxation, the sleep. She gives you the truth. She tells you what is the truth and what is not. Sometimes people, so much in their ego, always try to believe that what I think is the truth. Then she's the one who points it out by creating a maya, a kind of a confusion, that you start thinking, what is this? So she is called also the one who gives us Bhranti, means illusions. She puts you to illusions also. She tests you, puts you to illusions, and she then ultimately takes you out of the illusions. She is the one who relaxes you, because she takes over all your responsibilities. She takes over all your problems. She is the one who solves all the problems. It is we who forget to leave all the problems to her. If you just leave problems to her, all your problems are solved. Not only that, but you really feel blessed. It's not only physical, also it's mental, that she makes your mind absolutely free of worries. She doesn't worry. And she doesn't want you to worry. If you worry, then she tries to show that by your worrying you are denying her. You are not accepting her. Worrying is something is very common, and people take great pride in saying, oh, I was worried. How can you be worried when your mother is Sakshat Mahakali? She can kill all the demons, she can finish all of them, she knows how to manage things. And when you are like a child before her, how can you worry about it? So your worries are finished. She worries about you, you shouldn't worry about yourself. That's the point. Her security is so great, she's so secured herself that she gives you all the security that you need. You can hold on to her feet, you can hold on to her image or to anything. You can even pray to her. Many people are being cured only by praying to her, because she cures you. She can cure your diseases, which are very complicated diseases, she can cure. Now what she likes, Mahakali, likes the light. She is worshipped in the night because then we can put on the lights. She likes enlightened person, also she likes the light, she likes the sun, she likes something that will be completely enlightened and brightened. You must have heard about people who are called, I don't know what, but especially in the West they use them. They have big teeth and they and they are the people, they just imagine, they cannot exist before the sun. As soon as there is a sunrise, they just want to go off and sleep. Whereas they cannot see the sun because the light they can't bear. Now what has happened here, that Mahalakshmi has departed, Mahakali has departed from them. And when Mahakali has departed, then they are afraid, and such people are attacked by these people who know they are afraid. The sun itself is very important to work out this Mahakali thing. But as it is in the West especially, we are very hard-working and very much sun-oriented, and we worship the sun. All this we do, worship the sun and also go right-sided very much. Then it is she who gives us the balance. She is the one who gives us the balance by relaxing us completely and protecting us. Sometimes we are competitive and we are really worried and we want to do something which we cannot do. Then we get upset and we don't know what to do. Then it is she who brings sleep to us. So when we sleep, she looks after us, she soothes us, and she takes away our problems. So many things she is doing. But what are we doing for her, that we should say? Main thing is that we are ourselves worshipping her. She likes that her children should worship her. That on that level she can be one with them. She can give them her compassion, love and protection from all the evil. But it has to be understood, those who are not yet settled, those who are not yet absolutely belonging to that land of security of Mahakali, can be attacked. And they, once they leave that area, they can be very badly injured, killed, whatever may can happen. So we are living in this Kali Yuga in a very dangerous times, when anything can happen. So we have to be very careful. We have to watch our mind to see how it works. What does it teach you? What does it tell you? Try to understand. What is the plan of this evil person that you are playing into his hands? How can you play into his hands? And how can you do whatever wrong he wants you to do? Secondly, against her is the ego. The biggest problem is the ego today. Ego shows, no, I can do this. Ego says, I will work it out. Ego says, it will be done. But the human beings yield to ego. It's a great satisfaction for them that their ego is so strong. And they don't want to listen to the Mahakali forces. ले जाओ 2 मिनट बाहर ले जाओ तो ठीक हो जाएगा. He wants me, you see. Children are like that. They can't leave you for even. You have to be like children. Really, that's the very best way, is to be innocent like children. She loves innocent people. She's innocence herself. She loves innocent people. And she looks after you much more because you're innocent. You're not cunning. You're not very much trying to play your ego on others. If you're innocent, she'll help you. She definitely will help you. But this ego has to be brought under control. Because he is the worst enemy she has. She doesn't like your ego. She wants you to be egoless, to be innocent. As you know that it is first she came and she created Sri Ganesha. That's why we worship Sri Ganesha. We have to be innocent. Means we are not planning to do something bad or good or anything. But we are without any intentions. We are just, uh, it's a timeless, it's a timeless activity. You just don't bother about what you are going to do, what you are not going to do, what you should do, nothing of the kind. You are just existing in your complete innocence and enjoying yourself and making others enjoy. If there's one child in the house, he can make 100 people dance. It's like that. Because these children have the power of innocence. And that is what she respects. We sometimes feel that how people are cheats, how they cheat us, how they make all kinds of, I should say, aggressiveness, sometimes how they try to also tell lies. All kinds of things they will do. And they expect so much from you also. But all this is happening. You shouldn't bother about these things. You should keep to your innocence and you'll be surprised, you'll be completely protected. How? Because Mahakali will stand around you. She will look after you. If you are innocent. Innocent person doesn't get angry. What is there to get angry? Innocence has its own, I should say, strength, power. It's extremely powerful. Even a cruel man, if he sees a child, he becomes a little bit aware of it. There's a child. The whole world is aware that children should not be any way tortured or troubled. Why? Because children are so innocent. So the quality of innocence is going to really help you very much because she appreciates your quality of innocence. Then another thing she loves in you is your compassion. Compassion for each other, love for each other, also caring for others. That is something she loves. If you are a Sahajogi, if you are a realized soul, she is always with you. But she says, what are you doing with your compassion? How many people you are giving realization? How many people you are curing? How many people you are helping? She is quite aware of whatever you are doing. I should say it's such a tremendous power of Mahakali that she knows everything about you. Everything. She knows your mind. She knows your heart. She knows about your health. Everything she knows. Actually, she is the mother in every way who cares for the little child. In that way, she knows that this child doesn't know anything. He is very innocent. So like when you are very small, your mother looks after you. In the same way, this Mahakali looks after you. Then the Mahasaraswati power comes in. And she educates you, she gives you other ideas of knowledge, this, that. But looking after the child in you, looking after your innocence and your compassion is all done by this Mahakali power. So she is extremely sensitive about her children. Nobody dared touch her children. For her, everybody is like a child. Those who are realized so specially, she thinks are children. And in no way they should be hurt. Nothing should happen to them. She is always following them. One can say if she is a person, how does he follow them? Because she is omnipresent. She is present everywhere. Everywhere in your life she is there. Especially with Sahajogis, she follows them up and down. Everywhere, whatever you are doing, you are in an accident, she is there to save you. She is like an angel behind you. And nothing can happen to you if you really worship her from your full heart. Not for any gain, not for any achievement, but for her blessings. Her blessings are very great and they really have enriched human beings. They have enriched this earth. They have enriched everything because of the blessings of Mahakali. Of course, then there comes the Mahalakshmi. Her thing is that in Mahalakshmi principle you become sort of detached. You start finding that what is this world after all? And a kind of a feeling of detachment comes into you, and you start thinking that there must be something better. There must be truth beyond. Especially people who have been tortured by bad people always think like that there must be someone who will raise us from this. Here comes the Mahalakshmi principle, which is the principle of the goddess of ascent. She puts the ideas in your head that what is next? What do we have to do? After all, is this the end of our life? What is the purpose of this life? Why have we come on this earth? What is so special that we should live on this earth? All such fundamental questions start rising. And then he just take to the seeking. In that also you have to understand the Mahalakshmi principle is very, very, very different from what people understand. They think if they are seeking, it should be intelligible, it should be through their minds, or could be rational, all this, or scientific. That's how they move, seeking the truth. It's not possible. Mahalakshmi's principle is like this, that you should have earnest desire to know the truth and truth and truth and nothing else. When you think like that, then you will not take to other things. So many people took to drugs thinking that by doing that they will achieve their self-realization. It's a wrong idea. How can you get away from your awareness can achieve that? So awareness is the most important thing. If you can go into the realm of awareness, then you have to understand the basic awareness is not to be lost. If your basic awareness is lost through drinking or through drugs or all these things that people do, they think that they are seeking, that's why they are doing. So sometimes they take excuse of seeking to do wrong things. It's like a revenge on yourself, I think, that you want to revenge yourself by thinking that you are now seeking. It's not the real seeking. In a real seeking, a person has to just meditate and should find out what is the right way. But that too by not reading some books or listening to some false gurus. Actually, Kundalini awakening is the only way one can know the reality. There's no other way out. But nobody tells them that it is Kundalini awakening. They'll tell you, we'll go to this place, then to that place, then move to that place, then this has to be done, and ultimately where do you come? Where you started. It's just like that, moving from places to places, moving from false to another false, to another false, to falsehood. Ultimately, so many seekers have been lost. So many have been lost because they thought that certain type of is very precious. Seeking is very precious because you can pay lots of money to the guru. I mean, you can purchase the guru, and so all the rich people can become enlightened. That means that. But I don't think the percentage of good people are only rich. The people who are good, whether they are rich or not is not the point. But such people try to gather round a person because I think there's a subtle ego of their money, that we can afford to buy this, buy that. Once I was in America and there was one lady who came to see me, and she didn't know that I was come to America. I said, really, what does he do? He said, there's a sale on. I said, really? You can pay him half the amount. He can give you his blessings, all right. Then next week she said, now the sale has come to 1/4. If you pay the 1/4 amount, then he will give the full knowledge. I said, how can he reciprocal? It's not proportionate. I said, even you are giving half, he was giving you half. And when you are giving 1/4, he is giving full. That's the thing, he said. He is very magnanimous, you see. That's the point. I said, for all such people who think they can purchase truth, they cannot achieve it. You cannot purchase it. You cannot pay for your Kundalini awakening. No. Nor you should take any payment for that. Self-realization is absolutely the divine grace. And you cannot take money for that. You cannot sell it. It's not so cheap to be sold. If you understand that, then the Mahalakshmi power works. And Mahalakshmi power is really meant for people who are genuine seekers, who are really seeking genuinely. It acts and works so well that they achieve a kind of a very, very spontaneous realization. This spontaneous realization, you all have got it. You don't have to go to Himalayas, you don't have to do anything like that. All those things are over, you have done it. In your previous lives, you must have done it. Now you don't have to do anything. You are getting it just sitting down here. Wherever you are in the whole world, you can get it. And it is spreading very fast. Now it's also the duty of Sahaja Yogis to spread Sahaja Yoga. Now, this one is to be understood that Mahalakshmi and Mahakali both go hand in hand. When you see Mahakali blesses you and she is with you and you are in her realm, the Mahalakshmi comes forward and she definitely helps you to achieve your realization and also to improve your problems, to help you, the financial side of it you can call it, or in any way other problems also she solves. The greatest problem she solves, that your greatest desire to achieve self-realization is granted. So there is no competition between them. All these three powers work together, and whatever is needed, they work it out. But it is the Mahakali who guides where what help has to go. And that's why the power of Mahakali is very much respected. As it is, she has killed so many devils and so many Rakshasas. And there are still more, some of them are existing, but I am sure they will be all finished. There will be none of these horrible ones ever existing. But still, we have to be very careful and alert and try to find out what's wrong with these people, what are they doing, and what they are trying to propagate. You must mature in such a manner that you should know everything of all these evildoers. You must find out what these false people are doing. See, it's very easy because you are enlightened, and with your enlightened attention, you can definitely find out what's wrong with what organization, with which evil man, evil doer. It will be the best way is to meditate. Not to be aggressive in any way, but just to meditate and ask Mahakali, destroy. Destroy him. For he is destroying the world. You please destroy. That's her job, and she would love to do, but somebody has to tell her and ask her. It's very good, because there are so many that unless and until you point it out, she may not be able to put her attention to them, possibly. So it's best is always ask her to help you on individual basis, on a national basis, maybe on a collective basis, or maybe on a global basis. That's what she exists everywhere. She is globally available. Anywhere you may be having any color, any race, any nation, anything. But she exists within you all the time, and to worship her and to awaken her is only your due that you have to do. If she is awakened within you, you will be a humble person. You will see what mistakes you have been committing, and you will feel bad about it. You will not feel guilty, but you will feel bad that I will never do such thing. I have done very great wrong. And then you will try to correct it. All this works out very well when you are pure in your heart. Your heart should be pure. If your heart is not pure, if you are doing Sahaja Yoga to have some competition with others or with some sort of material achievements, it will not work. You have to do it in a way that is an innocent act, that you are worshipping your mother like a little child worships and loves his mother. It's a very simple relationship which all of us have failed. How we should love our mother and how we should be under her guidance and under her protection. That is something very simple you have known in your childhood, and that childhood has to come back in you if you really worship the mother. May God bless you. Today we are going to celebrate the birthday of Mahavira. Mahavira is the incarnation of Bhairavnath, or you call him at Saint Michael. Now these two saints, as you know, one is the Gabriel, Hanumana, and another is Saint Michael. One is placed on the Pingala Nadi and another one, Saint Michael, on the Ida Nadi. So, Mahavira had to go through lots of search. Of course, he was a angel, but came as human being. And he had to find out the thing of the left side and how the left side acts. It's a very complicated thing, left side. It's much more complicated than right side. On the left side, we have also 7 nadis. And these 7 nadis are placed one after another. They are described in books and given different names to them. Now these 7 nadis that are on the left side, as you know, they cater to our past. See, for example, every moment becomes a past. every present becomes a past. Then we have past of this lifetime. And also we have past of our previous lives. Then all the past is built in within us since our creation. So all these psychosomatic diseases, as you know, are only triggered by the entities that appear from the left side. For a person, supposing he is suffering, say, from liver trouble, and suddenly he is attacked from the left side, especially Muladhara, or any left side, left navi. Because Muladhara is the only one that is connected with the left side, Ida Nadi, and the right side, Pingala Nadi, is connected to Swadhisthana. So the problems of Muladhara are really beyond the reach of human beings. And when it is attacked, any one of these chakras on the left-hand side, then psychosomatic diseases occur into human beings. As I have told you many times, now this is the center, this is another center, left and right. They are on top of each other. If using the right side too much, goes up to a point and suddenly something happens on the left, triggers. So all diseases, say even diabetes, is due to the psychosomatic effect. A person who is very hard-working, thinks too much, very right-sided, suddenly something happens, maybe also you might inherit that diabetes because of the past, and it triggers and you get this psychosomatic problem. Now this psychosomatic problem is only cured if you know what's the problem of the left side is. So Mahavira went quite deep onto the left side. Why I said it's difficult, the left side, is because when you start moving on the left side, the movement becomes linear, of course, but it moves downward. While the movement on the right side moves upward. So the movement goes down like that, and then it coils up, forms coils, and you go on moving with it, so you are lost in the coil. But the other one moves upward and the coils are not so many, and because it is upward, it is easy to get out of it. So those people who go to the left, by any chance, by thinking too much about their past, crying about themselves and always complaining, are more difficult than the people on the right side. But the right side people are troublesome to others, while the left side people are troublesome to themselves. That's how this left side was to be found out properly, was done by Mahavira. Of course, he knew also, I think, all about it. So he has mentioned practically in details lots of things that can happen to a person who goes to the left side. He gave the idea of hell. He also describes 7 types of hell. I mean, it's so horrible that I don't want to tell you what is hell is. It's horrifyingly cruel, horrifyingly joyless, and horrifyingly so repulsive that you hate yourself when you understand you have committed this mistake, you have committed this paap, this sin, and then what is the result? What you get, the punishment part. Mahavira worked it out, everything. He has given in all details what sort of punishment is due to a human being who tries to be left-sided. Also he has given about the person who is right-sided. But not to that extent, because he had to deal with the combination, but mostly with the left side. As I have told many people before, and here also I perhaps maybe, that there is a soul that is made out of the causal bodies of all the five elements. The causal, say for example, of the earth is fragrance. So this soul, which is made of the five causal bodies and your centers, plus we can say also it has got the control over the parasympathetic. It sits on the spinal cord from outside and activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So it has a connection with every center. Now this is the soul when we die, with the Kundalini and our spirit goes into the sky. And it is the soul that guides now the movement of our being, whatever is left now, into a new being, and that's how it works out. So everything that we have done so far is recorded in that soul. When you were asking me, Mother, we see some sort of round things, you see, lying together. What is that? I told you this is a dead soul. And now they have found out what I have told them. Because, see, when a person dies, his soul shows you, like even now you can see, round things. There could be many, there could be one, a string. And they saw it under microscope when I told them that the soul within us is reflected on the cell, which is the reflector of every cell. So the part of the cell which is the reflector, which is placed on one side of the cell, also has this soul reflected, and the main soul, which is on the back, controls that reflected soul which looks after every cell. Now they have found out that there is in that reflector this kind of 7 loops. 7 loops because it sits on the 7 chakras and the Muladhara. Now what he found out, that when people die, then some of the souls are born again just after a few days. These people are just very ordinary type of people. That's how we brought in a kind of category. So they are the people who have died. They are of a category, one category, where they exist for a very short time in the collective subconscious, and then they take their rebirth. They are very ordinary people, aimless, useless people. But there are some souls, when they die, they just hang in the air, and they are just waiting to find out somebody who will fulfill their desires, which are not yet fulfilled. Like there's a drunkard, and a drunkard can join another human being who is living who would like to drink. So once he starts getting this so once it starts getting into the habit of drinking, some of these souls can just jump on that person. And when they jump on that person, they can make him a real drunkard. I remember of a lady who was a very short, petite person, came from Cuba, in America when I went first. And she told me that she is very sick of herself. Her husband told me that she can take one whiskey bottle full, neat sometimes. Looked at her, such a little thing, I said, how can she do it? So, I put a bandhan on her and I saw a huge, big Negro standing behind her. So I said, do you know some Negro? Immediately she jumped on me. She said, Mother, you see that one? You see that one? That's the one drinks, not me. Of course, I cured her, and after that she gave up drinking completely. So, whenever you start getting into a habit in a bad way, you lose complete control of yourself, and a spirit sits on you and it controls you. And when it controls you, you do not know how to get rid of any habit. That's why it's difficult to get rid of habits. Now, in Sahaja Yoga, when the Kundalini rises, what happens? That the spirits, these dead spirits, leave you and you become all right and you give up. That's how it works. I would say that all this Mahavira did not tell, nor did he find out all these things, because he was not a scientist, I think, or I don't know why. But what he has talked about is the hell. And he has said that if you do this kind of a thing in your lifetime, then what kind of a hell you will get. And he has described the hell in a very, I should say, openly and in a very detailed manner. And it's really horrible to know that a human being who thinks so of himself ultimately will get to that kind of a hell, and some are permanently doomed to be there. But as incarnations take birth, also these devils, some of them who are completely doomed to live in hell, also take their birth. And when they take their birth, they try to trouble us. And they can take birth as you know, as our gurus and things and everything is happening now. You find it how these people are taking their birth and how they are misleading us. How they are using the left swadhisthana, or we can call it the left side, just to immobilize us completely. So when a person is possessed, as you must have seen, a person gets possessed, he cannot feel vibrations. There are all kinds of symptoms about such a person. But in Sahaja Yoga, what do we do? Is to take the name of Mahavira. Because Mahavira runs all the way on the Ida Nadi and comes and stays here onto the, we can say, the point which is for our superi. And it sees, controls, works out, cleanses, and does all that is required to put a person right after surgery. So we have to be really very thankful to him for doing this kind of work, which is very filthy and dirty because these people don't mind even sitting in the bathroom, like that we can say, or sitting with everything and meditating. They can do anything. They are very dirty people, absolutely dirty. When they become tantrikas, they try all kinds of dirty things, and with that, they actually create a problem between themselves and the god. Say they will go to a temple of a goddess and start misbehaving with a woman there. So the goddess will disappear. And once the goddess disappears in that area, they call all these booths from the left side. So now we have all these souls which are lying, hanging in the air, trying to come back to a conscious thing and to possess someone. Plus these, we have these masters of the left side who know how to catch hold of these people and put them on somebody, or to remove from them someone and to put somebody else. So it's a continuous process, and this makes a person absolutely mad and good for nothing. Now when we know all this, still we get caught up on the left side. So we do get caught up. That's why I think this Mahavir Jayanti is a very, very great thing for us to observe. Now why was he called Mahavira? Because only a person like him, Veera means a person who is brave, who is chivalrous. Because only he could do this. So only he could enter into the being fully and could kill, or we can say destroy, those horrible Rakshasas, devils, all these negative things that come to us. Now, as you know, we use left side very much for so many negativity that is torturing us. But if there is no help, say from Mahavira, we cannot do it. We call the name of Mahavira, we could call him Saint Michael, we can call him by any name, but Mahavira because he was a human being. All this works out because of him. And he is such a great identity. He himself took a birth as a human being, difficult for saints to take birth as human beings. Moreover, you see the whole concept of hell and all that is described in any scripture is a fact. It exists. And if you try to go in there, you see, when I try to go there and to find out, I just go off to sleep sort of thing. In my sleep I find out all the things that are happening about person, how much he's got up, what he's done. It's not an easy thing to do with the conscious mind. You have to take to the subconscious and you have to go into sushupti, in a deeper sleep, to see what's happening in the left side. It's a very funny situation, I think. And for Sahaja also to enter in it, I would not advise. But one should get rid of the problems of the left side with the help of Mahavira. When this chakra is caught up, what you find is a big lump of bone coming out on the right side. So you have to take the name of Mahavira just to remove that pressure from the left side. Now many people do not even know why they suffer. Why should they suffer when they have done nothing wrong? Because they are possessed. Now even the viruses and all these things like psychosomatic troubles like cancer, all I would say, the incurable diseases are there because we are triggered into the left side. That's why we are suffering from these diseases which are not curable. So we have to thank really very much Mahavira, who has given us this power to remove our left-sided problems, who has given us this light in our hand, which he himself vibrates, and he himself tries to throw some light on the obscure things about me also. Because of him only, we can get cured of so many physical and mental troubles. You know that the left side can be easily cured if you use 3 candle treatment. That shows Mahavira is only fond of light. He doesn't like darkness. And his idea is, I think that way, is to now fully go all the way to clear the left side as far as possible to help Sahaja Yoga to be established in countries where I find still a lot of this negativity is there. Lot of it. So he is working it out everywhere. And the psychosomatic diseases and all these diseases also we can work it out with candle light and all that. With 3 candles we can do this trick. So we have to be very thankful to him that he has achieved this kind of entry into the left side and has found out for us what sort of problems exist on the left side. It's such a nice thing that we have got today the chance to celebrate his birthday here in a place which is really very much loved by him. Now you may say that Mahavira is sometimes seen as a person who is naked. So it happened that he had gone in a jungle to meditate and to find out about the left side. And when he got up, you see, he got caught up in one of the bushes. And he had to torn off half part of that. When that half part was torn off, then he came out of those bushes and he was all right. But at the same time, Sri Krishna appeared there on the scene as a little boy from a village. And he said that I am a poor man. This little boy said, I am a poor person, I have nothing with me. You are a king, you can always get your clothes. Why don't you give me this half cloth that you have? And they say so that it was given to this boy and who ran away. He was nobody else but Sri Vishnu. And this, you see, Vishnu took away that cloth, and hardly for about 2 seconds or 3 seconds, because he was a king, you see. And he hid himself with leaves and went to his palace and got dressed. But imagine the people, how negative they are. They just walk without clothes. Jainis, they have, you see, all kinds of taboos against all the worms, everything. It's said, these people have started, that if you do not respect these little animals, like you can say even serpent or any animal which is troublesome and bad, but is a human, is a living thing, so is to be preserved. Now these Jains are mad. I told you that they have gone to such a limit of vegetarianism that they try to save even the bugs, put the bugs in a hut. And the hut has got a Brahmin there. Now these bugs suck the blood of this Brahmin. And once the Brahmin is completely, I should say, sucked in by these bugs, they fall on the ground. Then they allow the Brahmin to come out and they give him a lot of dakshina, means they give him money as a reward for helping the bugs to suck his blood. This kind of vegetarianism is there. Beware of vegetarians. You see, even Hitler was a vegetarian. So you can imagine what sort of a vegetarianism it is. All these fads of vegetarianism and all that are not at all required. And that's what Mahavira showed in his life, that it is not at all important to bother about food, what issue. See, the whole theory of this vegetarianism has gone to such a nonsensical limits that I have told people that we should give up vegetarianism completely. Now also see the juxtaposition of what he wanted to do. If you do not eat proteins, you cannot fight booths. A person who has bhoots in him must eat a lot of proteins, not carbohydrates, but proteins, so that it can fight those left-sided enemies. But here it is, they have to be vegetarians. Now imagine there are left-sided enemies within them and they want to be vegetarians. Finished. How will they fight it? So all this is all we should say is pre-planned by the person who tries to sort of we can say like this, that you see a person who tries to remove or we can say that the person who tries to make these lower animals live rather than human beings. You see, there are persons, this is the stupid thing they do, must know that I cannot give realization to these worms and to these fishes or even to chickens. We require human beings. So all this has happened because of human beings going in juxtaposition of whatever is said. Like Christ has said, thou shalt not have adulterous eyes. And I have yet to come across a Christian who is not a Sahajogi without adulterous eyes, whether it's a woman or a man. So we go just the opposite of what we have been taught. In the case of same thing happened, that Mahavira, what he tried to do was absolutely killed by these people who are trying to make this vegetarianism as a big religion. Also another thing was that this vegetarianism came into Jainism through one fellow called Neminath, who was a Tirthankar at the time of Sri Krishna. He was to be married. In those days they were married, not only but they were eating all kinds of meats. And so many lambs and goats came for the wedding of this man. So he felt that Uparati, we call it, he didn't like, he was disgusted, he was frustrated with that. With that frustration, what did he do? He said, I will not eat meat. And that's how vegetarianism started among Jainis. And that's how it's still going on. And these Jainis, I find, are the joyless people, absolutely joyless. They are so much fond of money, they run after the money, and they go on behaving in such a peculiar way that you can't understand. I mean, they are human beings, but the way they behave, you cannot understand them. They are not normal people. So we realize that despite all that Mahavira worked out, still the people are supposed to be his disciples. They are Jains, and they are like this. So what we have to do now is to understand that in Sahaja Yoga we better not do something of that kind. Whatever you are told, you have to understand why it is so. You know the modus operandi, you know each and everything about Sahaja Yoga. You know the whole subject. So it's not proper for you to, in any way, to succumb to any such arguments or any such big talks or big advertisement and take to something that is wrong. It's very important. We are Sahaja Yogis. We understand the balance. Of course, I always say that Westerners, for example, maybe Australians also, should take more to carbohydrates because they eat a lot of meat. So they can take to carbohydrates. But that doesn't mean vegetarianism by any chance. I mean to compensate. And in India, I always say they must take to more meats. It's good to do them good. But by no means I say that you just eat meat and nothing else. But a balance has to be found out. And once you strike it, then you'll be surprised that you feel so relaxed, so much better, so much enlightened, and the vibrations will flow much better than normal. So for food, you have to be careful. Same about with clothes, that you shouldn't go mad after a suit all the time, whether it's hot or cold or indifferent. What you have to do is to wear something that will suit you. Now, for example, in a climate like this, you may require a suit or something to cover yourself. But supposing you are in Ganpatipure, some place like that, where it's not so cold, not so hot, maybe it's dry. So what sort of a dress you should wear which is comfortable, that should be found out. And whatever you find out, that this is such a comfortable dress for us, you better do it. Because what I have seen, many, you see, it's a thing that whenever I tell you something, don't take it to the extremes and don't take a little bit of it. But when I tell you this thing, you must understand that whatever is good for you, whatever is your temperament, whatever is aptitude, you have to take something that will nourish that will improve you and give you a balance. So to balance yourself, if you think of Mahavira, you must think also of Sri Hanuman. Both these things are important. It's not easy to tell all about Mahavira in this short lecture, but I think I have quite connected him now with Serge, and you must have seen to it that how important he is and what an important role he plays. So may God bless you. Just thinking about Mahavira, it's impossible to keep it to the conscious mind. It's just going into the left all the time. Because I just in the car thought I better think about Mahavira. And since then it's all going towards the left. It's so difficult. But it will work out. My God. I hope you are all very comfortable now and that you are enjoying the food as well. Also we are approaching the fag end of our tour. This tour was arranged, as you know, like a journey through your Sushumna Nadi. At different points, different chakras. In the same way, we have passed through various places and now reached Ganpatipure, where we have to get ourselves there fully drenched with blessings of Sri Ganesh. As you know, Sahaja Yoga is a very subtler happening within us. It's a very subtler happening, and this subtler happening gives you sensitivity to divine joy. When you start getting divine joy, you don't care for any comforts, you don't care for all worldly type of pleasure-giving things. To you, this becomes the most important thing and the only thing. Apart from that, you start seeing the truth as it is. When I say you start seeing the truth, many people can misuse this word. I have seen many people saying that they can decide things on vibrations, and they have decided certain things on vibrations, but they commit mistakes. That means they have not yet grown up to that state where they can decide on vibrations. So nobody should arbitrarily decide, but consult the collective, especially your leaders, to find out if whatever decision you have taken, whatever you have thought of, is it all right or not. And one may commit lots of mistakes if you start behaving arbitrarily. The greatest law of Sahaja Yoga is that it is a collective happening. Now, as you have seen here, people are from abroad, people are from Delhi, people are from Calcutta, people from Bombay, people from villages, people from various places. The idea of all of you coming is to create the understanding of the collective. As people start becoming collective and collective, they do not bother others, they do not trouble others, but they give joy to others. They are not bothered about their going and coming, their eating and everything. They just don't behave like mundane, usual type of people. But they are very patient, saburi as they call it. They are in their patience. Now this patience is the most joy-giving thing. Patience gives you the greatest joy. When you are patient, you develop all your qualities. I think in patience you blossom the best. But patience is not be patient, be patient. Patience is also a kind of a state within us, with just this patience. Saburi as they call it. You just watch and see. Wherever you are, you are. Now some people are worried that they must get into the bus. Some people are worried they must reach back home. Some people are worried they must get their food in time. According to them, this is discipline. This is not. This is conditioning. But what is the discipline is of patience in Sahaja Yoga, where you watch everything and you are patient. If you are in the bus, you are there. If you are standing on the road, you are there. If you are walking on the road, you are there. On the contrary, it's a good idea to walk. I wish I could, but I can't, because once I start walking, everybody will fall at my feet. Nobody would spare me. So I'm just imprisoned inside a house, inside a room, all the day long, because I just can't come out. As soon as I come out, I find there are hosts of people standing outside. But your case is not such. You are free people. They are not bound like me. So it's nice to walk a little bit in the evening time. It's a good idea. It's a very good idea. Leisurely you can walk. That will digest your food. The food is rather heavy sometimes. It will make you feel better. And just know that you are walking, that's all. To feel that I have to walk, I have to go there. Once you start thinking, you get exhausted sitting here. Even if you have not walked. So it is important that patience should be made the discipline of life. How much patient we are for anything. For anything. Now as you can see, I have to sit here before I don't come, you cannot start. I have to sit here till you finish. You are all free, you can get up, walk about, come whenever you feel like. I am not. How do I manage all this? It's through my patience. But patience is my quality. Is my nature, which I enjoy the most of all. Now, if I am sitting here, if nobody is there, I am enjoying it. If I am lost somewhere, I enjoy it. If I lost my way, I enjoy it. Because I am there to enjoy myself. So I think we should make a practice. Now the moon is out, beautiful moonlit nights. Try to walk down. Especially the Delhi people must walk. They don't just walk. In Delhi it's all right because you cannot walk about the stranger and all that. But here it's better. You better walk, your health will improve, Sahaja Yoga will improve, Kundalini will improve, you'll feel much better. That's a good part of this remote place, that nobody sees you, nobody is bothered about. You can live whatever way you like, you can walk the way you like, there's nobody to bother. There's no need to have a competition or run about, but just leisurely if you walk is a good idea. I'm not saying it just to save some money out of the buses, but it is just to make you feel more healthy. Just sitting all the time, one feels very funny. Sit here, sit there, go in a taxi, go in a bus, go in a lift. You just don't move your legs. There's no exercise also in Sahaja Yoga. Walking is the best exercise for all the Sahajogis, as I told you. And that's why it is important that you all should try to walk a little bit, if possible. Of course, there are ladies who have children, so that is all right, old ladies, old men. But even then, it's a good idea to walk half a way and then you can go by buses. Something like that. Try to adjust yourself for these 3-4 days. You'll feel much better. I promise you, you'll feel much better when you walk. Now, the another thing which one has to learn apart from saburi, from the patience, one has to imbibe within oneself is the sweetness. If you are sweet, you are filled with humor, you do not hurt others, we are not hurt either, you see everything so beautiful and nice. That's the quality of Sri Krishna, Madhurya. Anything can be done with sweetness. That's very important. Now some people might say, Mother, sometimes you have to get angry and all that. There's no need for you. I can do that dirty job. You don't have to. You don't have to get angry with anyone. You just show your patience, your love, your kindness, your sweetness. That is how the personality of Sahaja, which is a collective being, is to be built. By people who have patience, who are sweet, outwardly, inwardly. And the third one is the genuineness. Without genuineness, we cannot enter into ourselves, because our inner being knows what we are. If there's hypocrisy, if there's just showing off, or if there's a kind of a reservation within us, we cannot enter inside. And also the people who come in contact with such people cannot progress. So one has to be very genuine about it, and this is an individual quality, is not a samohic quality. It's not a collective quality. All of us have to be genuine within ourselves, because it is for our gain, for our hita. So we have to be collective because it is good for us. We have to be patient because it is good for us, and we have to be genuine because it is good for us. It's all swartha. It is all the meaning of swartha. Swa means ourselves and artha means the meaning. And swartha also means selfishness, but actually it is self and self and self. Now you are changed people, your personality is different, it's shining through your spirit. In that spirit you have to see everything. All your conditionings will drop out as soon as you start identifying yourself fully with the spirit. Fully, again I say, because we do not. We are still Christians, we are still Hindus, we are still Muslims, we are still Indians, English, this, that. We are still narrow-minded, small little poodles. We have to be the ocean. Once you are identified with the ocean, you have to throw away everything and become absolutely clean and detached, nisanga. So when we are singing all these songs, we are saying this. It should not be a lip service. It should be from our heart, we should feel it. But I am happy that your spirits are shining, and the spirit is enjoying, and that you are moving very smoothly upward. Little push will help you more and understanding about it. This time it has been a much better seminar as I have seen. We must have a proper seminar. Maybe tomorrow morning we might try to have a proper seminar of this brain trust or something. But most of the people who are coming will be really coming tomorrow. So I don't know, maybe tomorrow evening you can have a brain trust. They'll be coming tomorrow sometime. There's hardly any time for a seminar, which I would like you all to sit down and have a proper brain trust or something. Or you can have it tomorrow morning, and also you can have it day after tomorrow sometimes. So something can be arranged by the leaders, and all the leaders of the world should meet and should do it. As the program stands, it is so. But in Sahaja Yoga, programs are never just the same. Changing is the sign of life. As I have told you, a little root has got a very little small tiny cell at the end of it, which is very discreet, and it changes its course according to the way it can penetrate into the mother earth. If there is a big boulder, it goes round and round and round to create a bondage for it later on for the tree to stand up. Then it goes into all various areas in a proper manner, whichever way is the best and sahaj. In the same way, it's a living process, and whatever works out has to be worked out in that manner. Sometimes you might sleep at 10 o'clock, sometimes you may sleep at 1 o'clock, sometimes you may sleep at any time. It depends on whatever way the things are moving. We have to be prepared for everything in a very sweet manner, with an enjoyable manner. So once we start deciding that we are going to be great Sahaja Yogis, we are here to be the Nirmalites, to fight all that is wrong, to stand for right, and to emancipate the whole humanity. If you understand the tremendous work we have to do, then you will create your own personalities in such a way that you will be able to shoulder this great responsibility. So let us see today is the beginning of this understanding between us, that we are not going to grow by demanding, by asking, by getting worried about ourselves, but just be in joy. Just be in joy. And this is what is lacking in some people, and that's why they cannot enjoy. They are all the time worried, how will they reach there, how will they come here, what is the arrangement, what is this, what is that. Just take it easy, and things will work out for you. That's how you are going to enjoy life. May God bless you.
Before we begin, I'd like to introduce myself to those of you in the room. My name is Barbara Schuler, and I do a radio program on a station from Monterey called Discovery, which is usually on Wednesdays from 1 to 2:30, and it's going to be now on Thursdays from 11 to 11:30 to 1 o'clock. And it's my privilege to be here to do a taped interview for my listeners. So for the listeners, I would like to say that we're at the Kennelim Campgrounds in Santa Cruz, and this is an interview with Her Holiness Mataji. Mother, today there were many things said about Sahaja Yoga, about your philosophy, and very little was said about who you are as a person. And I thought it would be good to start out with some questions about who you are, who were you as a child, what people influenced you, what brought you to the place you are today as a luminous being sitting before me and before us.
I'm a very ancient being. The problem is like this. What can I tell you about myself? I just don't know what part will interest you. But only thing I can say that I was born with this understanding and awareness that I have to find out a method by which I could give mass realization to people. I was a realized soul, of course. I knew all about it from my very child. But the problem was that how to make many people get it. Because if one person gets it, or one person has it, If one person is an incarnation, people don't understand. Not only that, but they may even try to destroy such a person. That's what happened to all the saints who came on this earth. Christ was crucified, Muhammad Sahib was given poison, because they were ignorant. They did not know what it was, what was he saying. So it was important, first of all, to find out a method how to give them a mass realization. And from that angle, I just thought that this is why I am on this earth, and I have to do this job, for which I wanted to study about human beings. I took my birth in a Christian family, and that too a family which was Protestant family, because I felt that Protestants are fanatics but very sophisticated. And they rationalize everything to such an extent that nobody can see beyond it. So I better take my birth in them. And my father and mother had already taken birth, whom I had chosen as my parents. They were great people, realized souls, and especially my father was a person who knew why I was on this earth. Even my mother knew about it. So a special rapport was between them and me, and they could understand why I was busy meditating or finding out about how to give realization to others. Then I would say my father, who was a very learned man, who knew about 14 languages, who translated Quran-e-Sharif into Hindi, who was a member of the Constituent Assembly, he made our constitution. Also, he was the only Christian to be elected in those days. And then my mother was a honors in mathematics, all very well educated and nice people. They dedicated their life to the cause of freedom of India. And I also felt that that was very important, because if we are not free, we cannot do anything on religious basis. This one thing is to be free from this level. And that's how I also helped them a lot, and our whole family suffered a lot. And I went through terrible times at a very young age. I was with Mahatma Gandhi also, because he liked me very much as a child, so I stayed on with him. Then I used to come back to study, again go back to him. He used to call me Nepali, because my face is a Nepali face. And he used to talk to me as if she's talking to his grandmother sometimes. It was very sweet, and he was a very sweet man, extremely sweet person to children, very strict with himself and strict with others, elderly people. But with children, he was very, very sweet and kind, and would try to learn from children a lot of things. It was surprising how he understood that there's a lot of wisdom with the children sometimes than with the older people who are mixed up. Now we got our independence, and we had a very bad setback because of the partition we had in our country. And I was studying in Lahore Medical College there, because I wanted to know about medicine, what these people call such and such thing, because I knew all this, but I knew about the body, I knew about everything, what you call the complete nervous system, but I did not know what was the vocabulary attached to it, so I studied there for 2 years. And after that, this war broke out, so I had to discontinue with my studies, and my parents wanted me to get married. And then I found that my marriage was important. I agreed to marry, and I married this gentleman, Mr. C.P. Srivastava. Then, during all that time, my only pastime or the full-time work was to find out about human beings. What's the problem they have? What they avoid reality, how they shun it, how they run away from it, what are their problems, how are they seeking, what do they have to offer, what will they accept, how to handle them. It was quite an intricate question. Every person provided a new sample of problems, and I had to fight it out in a way that it was a system which I knew how to do it, because to enter into somebody subtly to understand the problems of the Kundalini, you can go into the journey and find out about a person. And then I found out the permutations and combinations of their problems. So like it is like you can say that like periodic tables, you have to divide them into 3, then into 7, then into their permutations and combinations. So you can imagine 3 into 7 raised to power eternity. It was like that. But doesn't matter, it worked out. And in the year 1970, on the 5th of May, I was little bit hesitant at that time. I thought I should wait, but certain circumstances made me to open the last center. And when I opened the last center, we started working with others on arm asking. But still, I gave realization only to one lady who came to my house. I tried if it works out with her. And I gave a realization by touching her centers one by one, 6 centers, and then bringing out the Kundalini on top of the head.
What does it mean to open the
Sahasrara.
the last center?
Last center is the center which is the limbic area, where is the seat of all the 7 centers. It's all integration there. So far, everybody who has come, like Christ has come on this center, what we call the Agya Chakra, or Krishna has come on this center, which is the Vishuddhi Chakra. Like that, they have been appearing on every center of ours, giving us a new dimension to our awareness. And that's how our awareness has improved to this extent. And now the time is for you to get your absolute, to get your spirit, that your spirit must shine into your attention, that you should have your self-realization, that you should have your second birth. That's the time. And that is only possible if baptism, the real baptism works out, real. Not artificial, somebody coming and putting the hand on your head and saying, now you are baptized. That's not the way. But it is a real thing that happens, that you start feeling the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost coming out. So, then I started giving first of all realization without confronting any kind of opposition or anything. I started with one lady, then I went ahead with it. Then the first 12 people got realization. Then I was very happy because our mass realization has started. Then gradually it started working out. I went to Indian villages. I thought they are better, simple people. First work on the simpler people. And they got realization. Now we have thousands of people in the villages who have got realization. They have dropped out all their bad habits. They have become very creative. They are doing very well. They are very happy. And they are experts. So many of them are experts, I can say, in India now, whom we call as Sahajogi, maybe in thousands. Some are working in the villages, some are working in some cities. So we have lots of people now in India who can do this job.
This all happened since 1970.
I started. Yeah.
I have a question that's important to me and to many people who are searching for something or seeking perhaps what you call self-realization or Sahaja Yoga or something. Some of us don't know exactly what it is.
Yes,
and we find that there are many teachers. How do we recognize those teachers that you might call fraudulent from the real ones? It's so difficult because they all seem to be able to inspire us in certain ways and give us experiences. How do we know who is teaching something that's true and who is being deceptive?
First and foremost thing is, anybody who lives on your earnings is not a guru. A guru will never live on the earnings of his disciples. But here there are people who have built palaces, bought aircrafts and cars and this. I mean, this is something one should understand. It's so open to you to understand. I mean, I cannot understand more obvious thing that this one is. That it's a parasitic living, and you cannot have a parasites as your gurus. They can be parasites, but not your gurus. That's one of the things. And if you can, I mean, you can retain some people, you know. If you want, because you are rich people, you can retain some. That's a different point. But you cannot have them as gurus. Guru has to be a higher personality, you see. Now, you have seen Christ was such a great incarnation. He didn't take any money from anyone. He was a carpenter's son and he used to do carpentry himself and he lived like a modest man. He never lived with big cars and big houses. It's not necessary because such a person is himself is a very big king, you see, like a big emperor. He doesn't need anything. An emperor doesn't need anything because nothing can give him comfort except that he himself is in complete comfort. So such a person doesn't want anything. So you must see that such a person has no needs of comfort at all. He can sleep on the ground, he can sleep anywhere. Now, in this life, I should say I come from quite a wealthy family or married to another wealthy man. You can say that way, according to your own relative ideas. But to me, I can sleep anywhere. I have no problem. I have no problem of food, no problem of sleeping anywhere, no comfort. And I find it is beyond my self-respect to live on the earnings of others. It's not proper. But you are my children. Supposing now you bring a flower to me or something, it's all right. But I can't have a palace out of your money and all this. It's absurd, absolutely absurd. So this is one thing one should know, that it pampers our ego, that we can purchase our guru. We can purchase our self-realization. You see, this is a very subtle pampering. And that's how people accept. You see, they don't want to accept a person who says, who cannot offer anything, it's too much for them. Or maybe that, secondly, could be that people think that if you pay something, then you get attached to it, you go through it, whatever it is. Say you have paid for a ticket, and you find that the whole play is horrid, you can't bear it, but you have to go through it because you have paid for it. That's a human nature, you see. That's a human nature. I have seen that they do it. And that's what it works out. But this is very gross level, I'm telling you. But another should be that in these modern times it is promised that you will become prophets. You have to become prophets. So you must see, have you become prophets out of these? It's easiest is to see the disciples of this man. Any XYZ who says he's a guru. Now what is happening to the disciple? Is he a free person? Has he got any knowledge? Has he got any mastery? What has he achieved by being with that person? Now you have seen here there are Sahajogis, one better than the other. You talk to them, they are knowledge. Some of them have met me only for say 8 days or so, they have become knowledge. So what have they achieved, you should say? What is their style of life, their pattern of life, how they behave? And there cannot be any privacy about it. You see, like mafia, you don't tell that and you don't say that and you shouldn't do that. Of course, in Sahaja Yoga, the truth is exposed gradually. But it is not like this that if you give some money, nobody knows. Everybody knows everything in Sahaja Yoga, you see. Now, supposing we have to build an ashram, say for example. All right, you build your ashram, you collect your money, do what you like and know about it. I have nothing to do with it. Also among yourself, you should know how you got the money, how you spent it, what is the expense and all that. Because ashram you can pay for, but not for your realization. And this is one thing, it's very important, that what you get out of it is important, that you should become a prophet. Have you become a prophet? Then thirdly, you must know that if you are going from one to another, what we call guru shopping business, that means you have not found it. Otherwise you would just settle down. But some people are so weak that they do settle down with one and are finished with that. You must always see the people who go to these gurus, what have they got? Have they got that transformation? Because this is the age of transformation.
Mataji, what about teachers or gurus who produce miracles? You go to a guru who will materialize something out of the air and say this is divine.
This is all jugglery. It's all jugglery. And also, you see, now supposing somebody says, I produce a diamond. Now these people come from India. Why don't they solve the financial problem of India? secondly, you see, at every point they can be challenged. You should say that, then all right. One gentleman came to me and said that he gave me a diamond. I said, why you? How many diamonds you have? He said, hundreds. Then I said, why did he give you? He should give to your driver, who hasn't got a diamond. You see, that is what it is. So it is all jugglery. You should see those who materialize. What have they given you? They have to give you something eternal. If they talk about God, God is not going to give you diamond. Which God has given diamonds to people? Have you heard of anyone giving diamonds? No. So you should ask for something which is the highest, which is the suprememost. Now the fourth thing, which is very important, that whatever experiences you get, for example, some people start just like jumping, some start shouting, some start behaving like animals, and they say, oh, that's what is coming out, you're taking out, you see. They feel very bad, they get horrible diseases, they get into troubles, and they get into pains and all sorts of things and contortions. They say, now your subconscious is coming out. Nothing has to be brought out. That's one thing you must know. The subconscious, as I told you, is on the left-hand side, and the supraconscious on the right-hand side. What you have to do is to ascend in the center and come up. Above your head is the superconsciousness. And when you become that, then you develop collective consciousness. So those who want you to become like frogs, again, you must know that you are not going to become frogs anymore. That's not anyway evolution. The evolution has to go higher, not becoming frogs or earthworms, you see. And if you start crawling, it is simple mesmerism. Anybody mesmerizes can do these tricks, you see. It's simple mesmerism. And then to believe that now you are surrendered and all that is all nonsense, you see. It has no meaning to realization. In realization, you just become the master. You become the master of it. There are many people in this country who came and lured you by their talks also, talking big about Brahma, Atma Tattva, this, that and everything. That is not the way you can, that is what is just the pendulum moving from Christian sermon to Hindu sermon, and from Hindu sermon to Islamic sermon, from there to the rabbi sermon. It goes on like that, you see. That's not the way. You have to rise higher within yourself. And that's why those who lecture about these things are really sometimes can be very, very dangerous. And so many have died of cancer, this, that. I don't know what to say, that people who go to these people get into very bad troubles and suffer so much. And then on top of that, when all this happens, they say, you must suffer. That's a very good excuse, you must suffer. You must pay to suffer. Pay money to suffer. And then people go on suffering. Now one thing I have to tell you, that Christ has suffered for us. We don't have to suffer anymore. Those who deny suffering will have to go for suffering. All right, have it. But He suffered for us. There is no need for us to suffer anymore. When He is awakened within us, He takes away all that is our ego, means our karmas, our superego, that is our conditioning, completely removed, and you become one with the Divine. There is no need for anybody to suffer. And this idea of suffering is all nonsensical. You should not suffer at all.
Good. I'm glad it's over. Mataji, you're called Mother. It seems that in the Hindu tradition there's a special context or meaning of the word mother. What is this meaning?
You see, in the Indian philosophy, even in the Christian philosophy it is so, but it has been little bit changed. If you read the books of Essenes, you will find they have described the mother. You see, the Holy Ghost is the mother. When they say about the Holy Ghost, she is the mother. But how can you have, you must reason it out, how can you have a father and a son without a mother? It's a simple thing like that, you see. So it's the mother only. Holy Ghost is very important. So Holy Ghost is the mother. You see, an absurd thing. I mean, to have such a thing. Even homosexuals cannot have children. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Absolutely absurd. But Christians accepted this. I don't know why. Why didn't they go in to find out what is this Holy Ghost business is? They said it's a mystery. How can you say? It's a mystery. When you cannot explain, then better not say anything about it. So Holy Ghost is something hanging in the air, no one knows, it's a mystery, and the rest of it is the Father and the Son. It's absurd. Now, the principle of mother is in every scripture, has to be there. Now the mother's character is that she is the one who is the womb. She is the one who is the mother. And she is the one who nourishes you. She nourishes us, you know that. And this feminine thing in every human being resides as this Kundalini, as you have seen. And when she rises, she gives you this new awareness, which becomes compassion, which is flowing, which becomes soothing, nourishing energy of love. And that's what today people are saying, feminist, this thing and all that. That's again a pendulum, a man becoming a woman, woman becoming man. All these problems here are because of this. But when you move spirally upward, then where do you move? You become a personality full of compassion, of love, of universal understanding through collective consciousness. And then you rise up to a position where you become universally conscious. So that is what should happen to you. And if that happens, then we should say that your motherly qualities within you have risen. And that's what we have so far neglected. You do not become a woman, but you become motherly. First the father, then the son, and now the mother. All right?
What is the role of woman in this world, the role of the feminine principle?
I would say, I don't say that women who are born as women only have the role, even the men have, everyone has, because everyone has Kundalini within them. But the women must know that if they are women, they have a greater responsibility. Not that they should sit at home and only look after children and brood and then nag the husbands when they come home. That's not their role. The role is such that they have to be forbearing. Any person who is the mother has to be like the mother earth. How much she is forbearing, how much she suffers. We dig her out, we torture her life, still she is giving all the time, she is soothing, forgiving, bearing it out. We are doing so many sinful things, she should explode really, the way it is. But she does not. She is very careful, she slowly informs that now get out of this place, this rumbling. She is so kind. You see, that all should come to us. So it's not that it is only the women who should settle down with these qualities, but the time has come that men have to have these qualities. Otherwise there will be always an imbalance. So now the men have to become extremely kind, affectionate, compassionate, give up that competitive spirit, that fighting spirit like Napoleon had. All those ideas are outdated. Now whom do you respect? People like Mahatma Gandhi or Abraham Lincoln. Everyone, an American, should think of Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, indeed. Mother, what are we doing here? What is the purpose of life on earth? What are human beings walking around on this planet for?
You are specially made by God. You are specially chosen by God to be human beings. And you are here with a very great purpose. The first purpose of God is that you should become the vehicle of God's powers completely, so that He flows through you. He flows into this atmosphere, into this universe, to make it a divine place. When you get realization, what happens? All your abnormalities drop out and you become very normal person. And these vibrations of cool breeze start flowing. With this now you can give it to Mother Earth. You can give it to the plants, you can give it to the trees. The whole thing becomes a garden of Allah, where you reside in complete joy and happiness. The second purpose is that God has prepared you now to settle into His kingdom. That's your throne, that's your right to be there. It could have been short-circuited at a time when Adam and Eve were called and told not to go into this so-called book of knowledge or the fruit of knowledge. But they didn't listen. You see, if you give freedom to someone, then what's wrong? So they started doing things which were brought to them by a satanic force, and they accepted it. So that was the original sin we have committed. So they had to take incarnations, do all those things, and now brought it to this level where human beings have to be brought again back to the position where they were to go.
Mother, what is the true nature of death? Is it possible that we can choose not to die? What's the purpose of death?
See, death is just like changing your clothes. So sometimes when you use too much of your clothes, get tired, you want to change it. Like that, death is, nobody dies. There's nothing that dies, except that the part that is the Mother Earth and the part that is the water falls off, and you remain as you are. But if you are a realized soul, then you have a choice. If you want to be born again, you would like to be born. If you don't want to be born, you will not be born. But after realization, it becomes your choice. If you want to die, you can die. If you don't want to die, you need not die. But you want, because you think that let us die and come back as new people again to help Mother.
Many of us have heard discussions or read in books about the evolution of matter, the evolution of substance. What are your views on evolving matter, and how does this relate to our own physical matter in our bodies, our cells?
So the matter did go into evolution, you know that. And when the carbon was established, actually our first chakra was established, that's carbon, which is tetravalent, and carbon is the one which started producing amino acids. You see, when amino acids started manifesting itself, then the other processes took place by which the evolution of, say, from amoeba to human stage took place. That also we understand very well after getting realization how we became from amoeba to human stage. And after human stage, we have to achieve our self-realization, means the spirit which is in our heart has to manifest in our attention, or we have to feel it on central nervous system. But what is the relationship between matter and this? We should see that point is important. Now through the matter, all our centers are made. For example, the two centers that are down below are made of the Mother Earth principle, and then another one and another one like that. All these elements have contributed to make the centers, and these centers are just like mirrors made, and the reflection of the divine falls on them. Then at a human level, the matter improves so much, goes into such evolutionary processes, that the reflection at the heart level improves so much that the spirit shines there, and the Kundalini is properly set for your evolution, which is the epitome of evolution. Like this instrument that is made one by one, first collecting this part, then put together. Now the time has come for you to be put to the mains. Now this has nothing to do with the electricity, if you see. It exists without electricity, but it can carry the electricity. In the same way, we become the lamp, and when we become the lamp, the light can be brought in and we become enlightened. So there is a big relationship between the lamp and the light. But light can not exist without the lamp, so lamp has to be there.
Mother, can I ask you a question about sex?
Yes, please.
It was stated today that sex has nothing to do with evolution the way it's been described in Sahaja Yoga. What does this mean?
You see, the thing is that we think that by doing sex or by going into sex we can evolve is absolutely false. You have not become a human being from amoeba to this stage by doing sex, because animals all do sex, everybody does sex. If they do it or not makes no difference. The thing is, the evolution takes place only through your seeking. When you start seeking something, then only you evolve. And the seeking first was for food, if you see in the animals, was for food. You see, sex was spontaneous. They don't think about it, they don't read about it, they don't have any education about it, nothing.
sex comes so spontaneously, just like your breathing, you see. You don't have to have, as you have in your schools now, teaching sex. What is there to teach? I don't understand. I mean, it is such a spontaneous thing. On the contrary, the more you talk about it, the worse it becomes, you see. And the more it becomes a brain thing, you cannot do sex with your brain, you see. So it's all a nonsensical thing. All these things have added to your problems of impotency and all sorts of things in this country. Too much thinking about sex. At the time of sex, you are nowhere. You are lost. So what's the use of such a life, you see? So the people who think about sex too much are really very unnatural people. They are very unnatural. To be natural is to keep it spontaneous, to live very spontaneously. Of course, as an Indian lady, it is too much to speak on details, but I would say that we are not supposed to even say the word sex in Indian life. You see, it's like that, you see. But I think we are very potent people. The amount of children we are producing, you can never produce